I would like to look at the word sabotaging, because I think people have such a heavy perception on that word sabotaging. They're like, oh, I sabotage all my relationships, or I can see and it became for a few years, it became like the common theme.
Yep.
That was like, it was like a reward. Like, I've got a badge. I sabotage people. I sabotage myself. And that's what it sort of became a bit more of, like, oh, I do this. And it
Just
became,
carrying it as a flag. I self-sabotage.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's that word, self-sabotage. So it was just, so what is, when you hear the word, Moira, or talk about the word sabotaging, what does that look like, mean, feel for you?
For me, it feels like getting lost in all of the how come you can't do something.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest, and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Hello. Isn't that who is that does that? Who does hello? Matthew McConaughey. That's not me. Anyway,
Oh, all right. Yeah, you don't sound like Matthew McConaughey.
He says that hello. I don't know how he does it. Anyway, welcome people to our deliciously motivated mindset conversation. Clearly,
Dialogue podcast.
Yeah, that's a slash thingy. Welcome. We are I'm Debz from New Zealand. I'll say from New Zealand. And we have Moira, who is from, where are you, Moira?
I'm in Canada. Well, I grew up in Scotland. That's why I talk funny.
Yeah, she talks funny. Totally talks funny. Welcome. Oh my God, today is it's a goosebumpy day as we go to talk about what we're going to talk about, but it's not really a goosebumpy like a spiritual. It's like, oh, where are we going here with this one? Not the old goosebumpy. This is going to be a lovely one. This is going to be it's going to be a goodie. It's not a lovely one, but it's going to be a goodie. So welcome to our people who have never heard us before. Thank you. Be patient. We get there. And and thank you for finding us, however you found us. And to the people who have continued to follow us, thank you for supporting us, and thank you for being back.
Definitely.
Our topic today is how to erase the sabotaging. And the topic just makes me go, oh, here we go. But one of the things we always do at the start of our podcast is we rate ourselves on our PEMS, PEMS, which is our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And it's literally just a number between 0 and 10 that you recognize where you are physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually right here, right now. You're going to do another one at halfway point, and then at the end, when we wrap up, you're going to do another one again. And our aim is to take you closer to the 0. Away from the 10, away from the higher numbers, to the 0 where you feel so a 0 is centered and poised and
zen, calm, peaceful.
0 for zen. Totally.
That's
And then a 10 is
chaotic, discombobulated, chaos.
Yeah. Stuck in the mud, can't move. Do I get out of my my Wellington boots, or do I stay here and hope someone's going to save me? Like a 10 is you can't even make a decision. You just, you know that life's crazy and how you can't even see a vision out of it. That would be a 10.
Yep.
When you say discombobulation, it's like discombobulation in lights with pom-poms and on stage. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to ask you your number now. You're going to write it down, and then we're going to do a halfway check-in point, and then you're going to do an end check-in point. And the reason for this this check-in is just to be able to label what's going on for you. Go, oh, well, no wonder I had bad sleep, or no wonder I'm cranky because I've had no coffee this morning, or whatever it is. So it's your physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual that you're checking in on.
Yep.
Someone saying that, Moira, where are you?
At 2. I'm at 2.
Yeah, same actually. I feel that. And just before I get on here, I have this cough, but prior to that, we didn't. So I'm a 2 as well. I'm a 2 as well. And literally that's it, people. So with your pen and paper or your note-taking device, write that note down, that number, and then do them again throughout this call. And now that you've got the pen and paper or note-taking device, we're going to hit you with some amazing tips on how to erase the sabotaging your world.
Yes.
Around you. Yeah. Wherever. How to erase the sabotaging, full stop. That's it.
Yep.
So I actually want to, I would like to look at the word sabotaging, because I think people have such a heavy perception on that word sabotaging. They're like, oh, I sabotage all my relationships, or I can see and it became for a few years, it became like the common theme.
Yeah. Yep.
That was like, it was like a reward. Like, I've got a badge. I sabotage people. I sabotage myself. And that's what it sort of became a bit more of, like, oh, I do this. And it
just
became
carrying it as a flag. I self-sabotage.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's that word self-sabotage. So it was just, so what is, when you hear the word, Moira, or talk about the word sabotaging, what does that look like, mean, feel for you?
For me, it feels like getting lost in all of the how come you can't do something. So to me, like I'll hear people say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could do this? Oh, but there's no point in trying because I always fail, or I struggle, or I don't have the staying power, so it's like it's getting in your own way. That's a to me, sabotaging is getting in your own way. It's kind of getting into a sense of limitation, and I can't do this, and getting too caught up in all of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it reminds me also that sometimes when I'll ask somebody what do they want, and they give me this huge big list of all the things they don't want. And right there, I think that in itself is a form of sabotaging.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wow, well, no wonder you don't have clarity on what you want, because you've got so many nuances and defining moments of all of these things you don't like and you don't want. Right? How about you? How do you feel about that one?
I love your explanation. And I actually wrote down, I should. We know that word should.
Yeah.
I should know better. This is a pattern. Because when you're sabotaging, I believe you actually know, like, I should know better. I know dating that guy's the worst thing for me. I know staying at this job's the worst. Like, I know this. I know eating this food is not good, but I want to, or whatever. And so it's like that, I should know better. And there's a pattern there because you keep repeating. That's how I love your getting in your own way. When you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's it, sabotaging, getting in your, nope, can't do that. And that it's a head, oh, hang on, I didn't say that word. It's a head muckery. It's literally a sabotage.
Yeah,
it is. It's just a repeated thing that goes on in your head, and you're just like, and there's a lot of heavy, negative, downhill spiral self-talk. And that's external or internal, whatever it is. But yeah, when I think about the word sabotaging, it just makes me go, oh, duh, you know better.
Right.
I should know better.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a pattern.
Yes. But don't you think that it actually also, as I was feeling into that, don't you think that it's also an indication of a person's sense of worth, of worthiness, right? I'm going to put this as a tip by itself, actually, is that if you, let's say you want to take on a new habit, like, let's say you want to go for a walk every day,
Yeah.
and you say, going for a walk every day is healthy, and it'll help me be physically active. And then you find excuses as to how come you can't, oh, nope, I've got too much on my plate today, and I overbooked my client load, and there's lots of things that you can come up at. Oh, it's raining.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we're going to have 16 centimeters of snow, so I won't go out.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not doing it. But
He was currently dealing with snow.
well, it's actually not snowing today. The weather forecast said it's coming, and I just choose not to believe that.
Yeah. Says me who's going to skim the top of the pool. Very different. Okay, sabotaging, going back to
But
it.
the thing about, but I'm thinking about that, if I was worthy of me having that walk every day, then I'm going to find the way through it. I mean, maybe I could go to a gym and do some exercising, or I've actually, in Canada here in the wintertime, oftentimes I'll just go and walk around the mall.
Yeah, that's what my doctor said to me. He said if you you don't like walking, he said go to a shopping center, just or even walk up and down the main center, just window shop.
Yeah.
And he's like, but Deborah, don't go into the shop. I'm like, what?
Yeah, don't.
What? You
Yes, no.
step higher. But yes, you're right. There are ways around things if it's truly inspiring for you.
Right. And so that's why I'm saying is that if you find yourself in a cycle, like you're saying, it was a pattern, of, well, I should have known better,
Yeah.
then maybe it's time to look at your own sense of self-worth, because maybe that needs to be elevated in order for you to say, enough of this sabotagey kind of dialogue in my mind of all the reasons I cannot do this. So no, I am worthy of saying thanks for your input, to the inner saboteur, but I'm going for it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? That's an elevated self-worth.
I actually think that that last bit about talking to your inner saboteur, I think that's actually a tip on its own.
Yes.
Because I often do my stuff and I feel the universe is guiding me and it does stuff and I'm like, I'm not ready for that right now or whatever. So I'll put my hand on my heart and just say, thank you, I've got this.
Yeah.
I don't need to go, thank you, I've got this, that I'm going to be doing this and this. I don't, like, the universe knows, and I'm grounding myself by putting my hand on my, thank you, I've got this. And that's all it is, literally. And I say it aloud. I don't, if something happens and I'm in a shopping place or anything, and I'll just thank you, I've got this. And it's just an acknowledgement and a respect, I think, to the universe, but also to myself, that I can do this.
Right.
And that alone calms it down. It just settles it down, like, okay, thank you, I've got this. But then you actually have to follow through.
Absolutely.
That's the key. If you keep saying thank you, I've got this, and you do and you don't take action, then it's a downhill spiral, because the universe is going to go whatever.
Absolutely. And to your point, so that whole piece, and that's something that I've suggested before on previous conversations we've had on our podcast, is that the inner saboteur dialogue that's in your voice, in your head, that's actually like part of you. But when we acknowledge it and say, thank you, I've got this, or thank you, I hear you, but I don't need to listen to you, or whatever it is, it actually calms it down. It dials the volume down, because you recognize you've acknowledged it.
You hear your own voice, like, oh shit, I do have this.
Yeah.
Or oh shit, I have this. But yeah, it is that it is that thought process that goes, I've got this. Actually, I've got this. Yeah. I just looked up, I just want to jump in. I looked up the word sabotage in the dictionary.
Okay. Yeah, I like it when you do that.
Actually horrible. I was like, oh, and it, deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct something. They're very heavy words. I didn't realize sabotage.
Yikes.
Yeah. Or obstruct, in brackets, something, especially for political or military advantage. I'm like, I don't know if I do anything politically and military advantaged, but okay, whatever. But it said similar words are wreck, deliberately damage, vandalize, destroy, obstruct, disrupt. And they deliberately damage, vandalize, destroy. They're heavier words to me than sabotage.
Yes,
But
they are. I know that feels awful, but
yeah,
it's the
but
energy of derailing, right?
and I think that word sabotage, when you just normalize that word, if you
Yeah.
can normalize any word and just go, oh, it's just a word, it's just a word, and that alone just calms it down. So when you hear that, oh, I'm self-sabotaging, I should know better. Thank you, I've got this. Like, thanks, sabotage, I've got this. Like, you can say the word or whatever, but thank you, I've got this. Just calms it down, I find, with that, being aware of your self-worth, but just calms that down and takes that word as it's just a word. Does that all make sense? They're
It
heavy, they're horrible words. In my word, no, there's no right or wrong, bloody da da, but they're horrible words. Deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct, wreck, vandalized. I'm like, oh, crikey, what are you sabotaging? But it is, someone says, oh, they're no good for the job. Your friend can quotation mark. They're my quote. I've got my fingers in there. They're quotation marks. Your friend is sabotaging you. Your friend is sabotaging you because they said, oh, look, she's not stable enough for that job. Like, I get that.
Mhm.
But then there's a whole, are they sabotaging or are they just being a-holes?
Well, but I'm thinking, for me, I'm thinking more of the idea of coming from the idea of self-sabotage. So
Yeah.
so in that example that I just said about if I set an intention, I'm gonna walk every day. Yes, I do walk every day.
She walks more than me. I've got dogs. Yeah. Just saying.
But getting there, so let's say I look at my schedule for the following day, and in order to go for a walk, I need to get up at a certain time. Self-sabotage could be as simple as not getting to bed early enough to wake up to go and do that.
Yeah.
And then, see, here's the thing though, is it's about really encouraging you to take complete responsibility for everything you do and do not do,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes, and this is the thing that I just made a wee note of, and I think it kind of spawned from you sharing those pretty hefty words,
Yeah.
is that perhaps if we get into a pattern or a paradigm where we are sabotaging our best efforts, like we want to
Yeah.
create or experience a certain level of success or connection or whatever it is that we're working toward, we all have shadow aspects. We are of the light and the dark, right? So our shadow aspects could be a propensity to overbook our time, or our propensity to not uh, do our PEMS check-in, where we're checking in and seeing how is my nervous system, that types of thing. But if a sabotaging piece that you're doing is just an indicator of your shadow aspect, then invite it in. See what it's trying to help you see about yourself. Because
Yeah.
this is about being the observed and the observer. So could you sort of take a wee bit of a step back at some point and say, oh, isn't this interesting? I said that I wanted to start this pattern of walking every day, and yet I'm not setting my alarm, or I'm not getting to bed in time to do that. So therefore, what is this informing me about me?
Yeah.
Right? And then kindly, lovingly address whatever that is that comes up. Because that's what, to me, I think that's a really solid way through any type of sabotaging patterns. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I wrote down, look at it with an open and inquisitive heart.
Yeah, I like that.
And when I think about that, we go back to our title, how to erase the sabotaging. So
Mm-hmm.
really, we're not actually erasing it at all. What we're
That's
doing is
right.
we're looking at it and we're unpicking it. So we are in the end, but when you look at it and you unpick it and you look at the bigger picture of what's going on for you at that time because of your past stories and everything that's happened to you, it's not at the forefront of it's not at the front of your head. You're constantly thinking about it. Oh, this, and this, because you've taken the time and you've looked at that with that inquisitive, open heart. And but you've invited them to actually go, I'm not scared of you. I've got this. Let's have a look at what's going on.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you're going to do that or not, I would say that I'm going to say the tip here is reach out to a professional, Moira and I, because we can see stuff that you can't see before we know what's going on because we've worked in this industry for a long time.
Yes, we have.
And so with that, we know the self-sabotaging patterns. We know we've lived and we've consulted with thousands of people who do this. And so I'm going to say we're an expert on this. I'm literally just going to say we're an expert. So you don't have to do this alone. We're here. If you really would like to unpack why you're not walking every day and that goal, if you call it a goal or whatever you want, and you're not achieving it, there's something bigger going on. There's definitely, is this a goal or a fantasy because your friend's doing it? Or is it actually something you want to do? Like there's a whole lot of questioning behind that.
Yeah.
Not prepared to look at that yourself and don't want to go down that rabbit hole, reach out to Moira and I, because I guarantee we will help you unpack whatever that is. You can definitely do it on your own. I'm going to say that, but if it gets too hard, that
It
extra
gets a bit too sticky, like you were saying at the beginning, when you're at a 10, you can't get traction.
Yeah,
It's time.
yeah, definitely. So we are here. We are here for you to guide you.
Definitely.
To look at what's really going on deeper than what you are.
That's what I say. We'll lift the hood and find out what's going on underneath there.
I love that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Why would you try and fix your car yourself?
Yeah.
When you can go here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is making me realize, and we kind of have been dancing with this one, but my tip here is to have gratitude for the saboteur voice or dialogue. Because let's say, and I'm going to take procrastination as a form of sabotaging.
Yeah.
Because that's another dialogue that I find. It's like procrastination and sabotage. I think they're partners.
Yeah. Yep.
However, sometimes when we have gratitude for them and go, okay, maybe it's because there's a deeper part of me or a deeper part of this piece that I was wanting to create or put into motion that's not the right timing, or maybe I don't really want it. Maybe there's something bigger, better, more in alignment, more that lights my heart up. And so that's why this is about having a really profoundly deep relationship, you with you, and understanding that everything is for you. Sometimes when people get into that self-sabotaging, I'm against me. Well, no, maybe it's there to show you something.
Yeah.
To help you see there's a better way, there's a more aligned way, or maybe even it's about just saying, this isn't my best time to do this, right?
Yeah. And I think I love gratitude anyway. Gratitude that it's alerted you to something to work on. And I'm a firm believer, celebrate. Now, when someone hits me with something, or I hit myself with something, and I don't instantly go, yay, let's celebrate that. It's just happened. I'm not that kind of person. I'm literally like, are you freaking serious? And then I'm like, okay. And it can take a minute, or it can take longer, or whatever. But I then go, okay, it's time to actually celebrate that you've got something to work on.
Yeah.
And it's another level of evolution. But one of the tips, I love the gratitude anyway. One of the tips I wrote down was be aware of your past hang-ups. Now, I didn't say stories. I'm talking about your past hang-ups because, I mentioned before, I might go, oh my God, Moira's walking every day. I want to be like Moira. I'm going to go do that. And then, so my past hang-ups are listening to somebody else's stuff and going, I want to do that, or I want a piece of that pie, and trying that and then going, well, that doesn't fit. Like she's got a beautiful dress. I'm going to buy that in the same size, wear the same size, and it doesn't fit. Like you have to look at things, but be aware of those past hang-ups because they are the things to work through for your evolution. They're
Mm-hmm.
the things not to put in the glory box. Did you grow up with the glory boxes where you had towels put in, your mum and dad like put towels in for when you got married?
I
And
know
sheets.
about them, but I didn't personally have them.
I have the most magical rainbow that's just appeared.
Oh,
Funny.
awesome. Beautiful.
beautiful.
Talking
It's
about glory boxes. There you go.
Yeah,
I love it.
I had a glory box, so it's not doesn't go in there and the lid goes down and you never get to see it again or anything like that. So it's
Mhm.
not that. You want to look at that stuff and recognize it, and that brings back that gratitude.
Mhm.
Celebrate, go, oh, hang on, this happened to me one other time. I remember this, or I remember 2 years ago, or I remember her doing this, this, or I remember myself, because there is the self-sabotage, but there's also the sabotage from other people.
Right. But
And
that's that huge downfall we've talked about before, comparing.
that's right. And then there's when you don't forget, people, you do that stuff to other people too that they could perceive as sabotage. And you're like, no, I'm just giving them a hand up. I'm just telling them the answers to that question. It's like, no, you're sabotaging them. No, I'm
Right.
not. No. It's like, and so we all have our perceptions. So just be aware of your past hang-ups. That would be pumping everything I've just said into that, apart from the rainbow. Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that. And so that is, I think that's such an important part too, is that I like what you said about being aware of past hangups, but also be aware that you can re-script your
Oh,
your
yes,
way
of
of
course.
dealing at any juncture, right?
Yeah.
So you could say, oh, well, I used to have that hang up, or I used to, okay, that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
I played that role. I got the gift and I've said bye to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Even when I talk about that past hang-ups, whether you're we talked about the PEMS, wow, that rainbow disappeared, literally. We've never seen a rainbow come up and go that quickly.
Oh.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciously-motivated-mindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciously-motivated-mindset.com/gift.
No, never.
Just
I know.
shining on then.
This week just gone. It doesn't matter your past hang-ups. It doesn't matter if you're a 10 discombobulated, or you're an 8, or you're a 5, or you're a 3, or a 2, or a 1. There's if you're a 1, there's still something in there of those. So let's neutralize that emotion, event, thought, vision, whatever. And when I say neutralize it, balance it and get you to that 0 for that beautiful situation. And then you can move on. So, yeah.
Something that just occurred to me
Being
is
reflective. That would be my word.
being reflective. I like that because that actually kind of.
I thought, what's one word? And I went reflective. Yeah.
But because that actually suits very much where I was going with what.
Oh, okay.
Well, you've heard me say that question before, is how do I feel about myself here? And
Yeah.
that is being reflective. So how do I feel about myself when I am putting roadblocks in my way as to how come I can't go and do this, go for a walk every day, or, be mindful of my time and not overbook my schedule, that kind of thing. How do I feel about myself? So if we're going to get into this aspect of erasing the sabotaging, how do I feel about myself? I feel in flow. I feel in the right place at the right time. I might feel a little bit of nervous energy, but if I feel like I should get on with this and I have to get this done, and then you haven't erased the sabotaging because you're trying to get through something with force.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an indication of there's sabotaging that's been allowed to occupy space and not be unpacked or have gratitude for or just understood.
I think
Do you
that
know what I mean?
when you were talking, I just went, you are the boss of you.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you are the boss you, like everything else. Like, no, actually, this doesn't feel right. No, or I do want to do it, or I don't, but now's not the right. Like, you are the boss of you, and the more you were saying that, I'm like, that's it. You are the boss of you.
And so that means to really bring the responses home. Because even saying you are the boss of you, if you've got a strong propensity to compare yourself to others, you're going to say, yeah, I'm the boss of me, but I have to look a certain way in the eyes of that person, and I need to show up looking like this over
There's a
here.
caveat addressed to that. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So it's about having the confidence to walk to the beat of your own drum.
Yeah,
And you're not here to get the approval of everybody either,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's just as Moira was talking, I'm going, oh, what am I sabotaging right now? What am I going? And I guess that's the other thing is how far can, recognizing how far can I push the limit? How far can I go? Is this an ego or a heart thing? Like, how far can I go to push the limit on myself or testing people? So maybe it's bringing that stuff back to your heart again, like the ego, like how I've got someone who's oh no, I'm not going to tell that story. Like, hang on, what story can I tell today? None.
So
But I've got
what do you mean by pushing it too far?
like someone's about to break and you're
Right.
just like, I don't want to give them that last, I just don't want to give them something. I'm trying to word it. I'm not going to be able to give an example. I just can't think without telling a story about me and what's going on in my world. But when someone says to me, well, even like, so, okay, hang on, not going to the dentist. Like, you got to go to the dentist. Like
Right.
once, well, hang on, you don't have to, but the choice is yours. If you go to the dentist once a year, you're going to maintain. Like that's it. We'll check up, But if you haven't gone for 5 years and and then suddenly you get toothache and you're like, I'll just pop painkillers. I'll just, I'm really busy. So this is what I'm talking about. It's that,
Right.
how far can I push that?
How
And then suddenly,
long can I put things off and spread it?
yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
So how far until it breaks, or how far, and then it happens, you're like, oh, I should have known better. You went that,
But yeah, she did.
yeah,
She did.
But so patching things. So it's like pushing yourself, and that's that ego versus the heart. Oh, I haven't got time, and these stories, haven't got time to go to the dentist, and and next thing it breaks, and you can't see somebody for 3 months, and you've got a sore broken tooth. And it's that same. It's just going to take you on that spiral head muckery. So just reassess. Shorter version, Deborah, is this ego or heart decision that you're sabotaging? Because when you're in your heart, you're not going to sabotage. It just feels right, and you're not. But when you're in your head and your ego goes, I'll be fine, I'm too busy this week, or I'm not going to give any money to that a-hole dentist, he did this last time, or she, whatever. So is this an ego or heart decision for you? How you're sabotaging? Does that sum everything up that I was trying to say? Does that make absolute sense? Because when I repeated in my head, I'm like, that made no sense at all, Deborah. Moira, scoop that up.
Well, so I hear what you're saying. I think that sabotage is sabotage. And so the thing that I was feeling as you were riffing on that ego versus heart is, of course, the heart is always going to say the things that are nurturing and uplifting and love-based. But the thing that I made a wee note of is that in this life, looking after these human body forms, there are certain things that we have to do that we may, as spiritual, soul-based, heart-based, there's things that we have to do that are mundane, that are boring, that can't say that I really love going to the dentist, but it's part of looking after this sacred vessel.
Keeping that vehicle
Yes.
alive and moving forward.
Yeah. And so it's about being responsible. So regardless of what's going on, whether it's ego or heart, it's like, no, you know what? There's things that I need to do that I can't say lights me up, but the overarching outcome of it does.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's to because the other thing I think of about the ego part is that sometimes the ego can just be like a 2-year-old having a wee tantrum, and it's like, okay, I hear you. I hear you, but we still have to go, honey.
Yeah. I like the word you said, be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And that be responsible is, now Moira is responsible, maybe different to mine.
Yes.
Probably is on some occasions.
It is.
Just go. And you as a listener, you're responsible for your morals and ethics and your stuff. So
And
be
values,
responsible.
yeah.
Yeah, be responsible for you. But I like that word, be responsible, because the truth is, if you're not going to go to dentist for 10 years and you just keep popping pills or putting cloves in there, that's cloves, not clothes.
Yeah, not clothes. Clothes.
CLOVES, yeah, clothes in there. They that works. It's probably time to go see a professional. And I understand money and you don't believe in this and all that, but what are you doing that is being responsible to help assist your evolution and growth?
Yeah. And stay on track with this whole thing. And this actually comes right back into what we're talking about when we talk about doing our PEMS check-in. So that means that we do ongoingly need to be looking after our physical well-being, looking after our emotional well-being, our mental well-being, and our spiritual well-being. And therefore, and each of those 4 pillars of us need the same amount of attention. We can't, and sometimes when we get really into the hustle and grind and push, we will drop a few of those. We might not attend to our spiritual connection or our emotional connection and just hustle and push through. That's going to actually give more fodder to the sabotaging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was just thinking, when there's so many words that are heavy, like when I did that explanation what sabotage is to the dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary.
Mhm.
But when I think about it, when you go, oh, I'm sabotaging this, it's not, and a ripple comes out of it. It's not a punishment. It's just an awareness.
Mhm.
And it's having these labels that we have, like, okay, this is not a punishment. I'm just, my teeth are out. My teeth have fallen out because I haven't seen a dentist in so long. That's not my problem at the moment lately, anyway, just for the record, people. But this is not punishment. This is not the universe is not punishing me for this. It's awareness. Look at it as an awareness. And that shifts from that, we talked about our PEMS, that shifts from that 10, right? Then it's like, okay, it's not a punishment. It's just an awareness. That shifts from that to a 3 or so.
Right. And then being the boss of you.
Yeah.
Then you get to say, oh, okay, now I'm going to make that phone call and go see the dentist.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I can take action. And I think that's the other thing is take action on things. Like, you can only bury stuff in the glory box for so long.
Yeah, I like that.
I would have thought you'd have a glory box. Just saying. I would have thought you would have a glory box. Oh, you had a lot of sisters, so it was only me and my sister. So yeah.
Yeah, and a fairly beatnik father, so that was part of it too.
You're not having any sheets, Moira. No towels for you. Yeah.
But so I like that take action, because if we really get too ensnared by the sabotaging propensity and patterns, we can overemphasize all the things we can't do. Whereas if we say,
you started it too, didn't you?
yeah. Whereas if we go, well, okay, all these things I can't do, that's fine, but there's always things I can do. So taking action. So I love that. That's a beautiful way to start wrapping up this awesome conversation. I love the places that we went to with this, how to erase the sabotaging. I think something that I would just kind of sneak in before we do our recap is that don't don't beat yourself up. If you are a saboteur, if you have that inner saboteur, self-saboteur, if you have a propensity for sabotaging, because you know what, we all do. It's part of this life. We all do to some level or another, but it's about being willing, and Deb, you've said it a number of times in our conversation, having the awareness, oh, it's because of that, or I made that choice, that decision.
Oh,
It's
that
okay.
makes sense. Oh,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And
And
that's
now
that.
take action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, dear listeners, like we said, we're going to recap. And so if you didn't at the beginning have a pen, pencil, note-taking device, we are
Hurry up.
going to we're going to recap all of these tips. So to start us off, I think the first tip that I went into was looking at what does sabotaging, how does it look for you? How does it show up? And that's when I talked about it. It's a pattern of you getting in your own way, of you second guessing yourself, of you getting too caught in the shoulds. I should be doing this and I shouldn't do that, and that kind of thing. So this is about opening the door to how does it show up for you.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to start erasing it, is having the awareness of it for you. How does it feel for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The blooming dictionary word that threw us right out. So the next was your self-worth.
Yeah.
And when I look at this, it is actually, because I said the word reflective, and it really stands out when I look at all these things that I'm talking about, or all our tips. They're all reflective. So what is your sense of self-worth? Like, have a look and be aware of that. And don't be fearful of going for the digging. Like, please, people, even if you've had something happen before and you're like, oh, I can't do it now. Last time I did this and I got lost in I spent a week in a not even taking action or anything. So please don't be fearful of that. So this is just reflective. It's just looking at these things. But the question is, what is your sense of self-worth, and looking at that and unpacking that?
And
Then
elevating it.
right or straight, left, right, or straight ahead. Yeah, perfect.
Definitely. The next one, and you added to that one saying, thank you, I've got this.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's hand on the heart as well, which I love also.
So when this inner dialogue comes up, it is hand on your heart and thank you, I've got this. And because I do really believe we are always at the right place at the right time. The saboteur dialogue may not have you believe that. So thank you, I've got this.
And even if you're in that 10 state, how we talked about our PEMS and 10, even just saying thank you, I got this, and your mind goes, oh crap. I don't think so, mate.
Yes.
Yeah. That whole thing is like, no, just say it again. If that other one comes in and goes, yeah, right, ha ha ha. Or as we say in New Zealand, tui, T-U-I. It's like, I've got this, ha ha, tui. And it's just like, no, you haven't. So just say it again. Thank you, I've got this. Put your hand deeper into your heart. And it can be that simple, people. Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, is it my one? Okay.
Yep.
My one says, invite the sabotage in. And it's all reflective, isn't it? Look at it with an open and inquisitive heart.
Yeah.
And don't be, if I jumped ahead, don't be fearful of this stuff.
Because that's what I had said, was that inviting it in is it's aspect of your shadow self. But when we invite it in, we're being whole. Right? Yeah. Love it. Thank you. So leading on from that, my next one here is to have gratitude for the saboteur or the procrastinator, or because, and Deb, you had said when we were talking about this, that really the gratitude could be in as much as just saying, thanks, now I see what I've got to work on. It's opened the door to what I can do, or what I need to take action on. So that can in itself can be gratitude inducing.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I don't do it straight away, but I will, but it is when you go, no, it's time. It's time.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time. And when the physical symptoms come in, it's definitely time. I'm just going to say
Oh,
that.
yes. Oh,
Physical
yes.
symptoms. I'm like, what's physical symptom? Your headaches. Yeah.
Neck aches.
Your PEMS is a 10 or an
Mm-hmm.
8 or a 7 or a 6. Yeah.
Yep.
I have here be aware of your past hang-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Reflect. So be aware of them. Just like open your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually not a fearful. Like I hear this and I can see people go, oh, I don't want to look at that. Oh, I don't want to open that door. Like, just be aware of them. Moira
It
and I are
doesn't mean
here.
you hold on to them. You just be aware of them.
It's just having that awareness. Yeah, perfect.
Because from that's when I had said that we can all rewrite our story at any point in time. So if you went and did a big review of what your past hang-ups, or like you were comparing yourself to other people or that kind of thing, you can rewrite it. You can say, you can bring some appreciation, some gratitude, but I'm going to rescript how I deal with things like this. I'm going to rescript how I talk to and about myself. So it's always such a moving, flowing. If we can't come from the heart, then that's so open to us, right?
Yeah, you are the boss of you is what I had also.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now the next one I had was ego versus heart, and we talked about the dentist and that, and the words that really came up was be responsible.
Yeah.
I love those because it's so simple, and it's be responsible for yourself and others and the greater good of society. Like be responsible with your choices and decisions. But if you're not going to the dentist and you haven't been for 10 years and you've just been popping pills or whatever, and then your teeth fall out, you can't blame the dentist, and you can't blame prices out there and inflation. You can't blame all that. You for 10 years have known.
Yep.
Okay.
Because you created it. You did
Yeah.
that. That's it. And I've said this to you before when we've had these conversations. I love that word responsible. There are some people that don't like it. They feel like that's a heavy burden. Like
You
being
said be responsible.
responsible.
You want to be
Being,
responsible. I'm like, okay, no, it
yeah,
is actually. I think it's a beautiful way of actually going, just be responsible to it. Like
yes, but
your
I
your
actually
responsibility is different to mine, or could be, or anything.
absolutely yes, but each one of us can take that word and understand that actually what it means is you have the ability to respond. We all have the ability to respond, and in that responding, we do it in our own unique way, our own unique flavor of responding. But that's, and I think that's how we can all get into our own relationship with that sense of being responsible. So I love that word. The next one I had was I brought into our conversation again about the 4 pillars, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And I really think it's such an important part to underline, double underline, that each one of those 4 pillars need your equal attention. So this is the 25% of your importance needs to be on each one of them. Because when we slip, and in my own experience with clients and myself as well, clients and students and myself, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Spiritual and emotional can take a beating. They're the more being. That's the feminine aspect. It's the spiritual and emotion, and they can kind of take the sidelines when we're really caught in the doing and hustling and pushing forward and getting things done. But it's got to be an equal measure, because when we do it for too long, that actually gives fodder and helps the saboteur take hold. So we want to erase the sabotaging. That's what this is all about, right?
And I've written down labels, as in it's not punishment, it's awareness.
Right. Yeah.
So when you find yourself, quotation, sabotaging, this is not a punishment to yourself. It's just an awareness for that.
Yep. I love that. That's all I had. That's the I had. Did you have more?
The last one I had was take action.
Ah, yes, we did. And we did. Oh, I did have that written down. I just didn't give it a number.
But I will go back to, I will say with that take action, if you want to do it alone, go for it. I give you
Yeah.
permission to go and unpack this and do this alone, but I also give you permission to reach out to Moira and myself, because we are here. We are an expert in sabotaging. We are an expert in erasing. We are an expert in our field of chaos.
And well, we're releasing that which is keeping you stuck potentially, right?
Yeah. So you don't have to do it alone. We are here for you. We're here. We're here for the waiting for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the last one.
So dear listeners, we trust that you have got some tips and ideas on erasing sabotaging from your experience. And so we have a couple of calls for you to do. So the first one is, what was your favorite tip about letting go sabotage? And the other tip, well, actually, no, I'm going to give you three, because the other one was to reach out to myself or to Deb or to both of us on our Facebook page and let us know, what area do you find yourself looping or stuck in that sabotage cycle? And can we be of help to you? So let us know. But then the third part of this is to share this conversation. Bring other people into it. Because like I said, we all have a degree of sabotagey behavior in our own way as part of human conditioning. But it's about having the awareness is the crucial piece of unpacking it and erasing it. So we're saying erase, but it's really saying I'm shaking free of the control of it. Right? So by just going, oh, there it is. Thank you very much. I've got this, and making the use of that energy moving forward. So, dear listeners, as you know, and we've talked quite a bit about the PEMS pillars, the PEMS, we had you rate yourself at the beginning, and I hope you checked in halfway through. And now we're all going to check in to see, where are we now? So both Deb and I were at a 2. Where are you now, my dear?
Zero. I feel warm, and I went, this is a lovely one. This has been a lovely.
Yeah, I really like this too.
Like I talked about a goosey, it was like, oh, but it wasn't going to be a beautiful, like, oh, but this is nice. It feels
like it landed into that. Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Definitely. Well, I am also a 0. But like we said, let us know, listeners, where were you at the beginning and where are you now? And let us know if you need some help. And share and spread these tips and ideas all around the globe. We all need to have tips and inspiration. So this is us wrapping up another one of our Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast conversations with dear Debz over there in New Zealand.
Me.
And me, Moira, in Newfoundland in Canada. Much love to you. Have a great week, and we'll be back with you next time. Bye.
Thanks, people.
Thanks. Bye.